What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. It's NBA Talk with Jay Money. We got our guy Shark with us. We got our guy Chris be capping as well, man, for Twitter, man. My guy over there. We're trying to get some cash. It's early Saturday morning. I got to have an early game. That's why we're going earlier. But what's up with you, Shark? Everything cool with you, my brother?
Absolutely. Recalibrating here, 11:30 a.m. As you said, Sunday, Saturday. It feels like Sunday. It's like football Sunday. We've got a noon game. Boston at Detroit. A lot going on here. Chris, welcome to the show. What's going on, brother?
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Glad to be here, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Like I said before, we were kind of chopping it up. Big fan of the show. I'm on Twitter all the time. I don't make a lot of, actual videos, but good to be here. Let's get to some money, man.
Exactly. That's
like they say.
Yeah, it's always business, man. If y'all don't know, Chris is always hosting Spaces as well. I believe like 5:30 Eastern. Usually, like Monday through Friday, he's hosting the Spaces. He gets like over 1,000 guys in the Spaces, man. So I like to come through and check them out. Just trying to grow. You know what I'm saying? Come through everywhere, man. Show love everywhere. Let's get to some cash. It's all business. First game up, going to the streets of Detroit, guys. We have historically the Pistons have paid the Celtics nice, Shark. Obviously this line was at 10, opened up at 10. It's up to 12 now. And what do you think here? The Celtics just lost to the Pistons right before the break there. Should they come out here motivated and smack these guys up from the start?
Theoretically, yes. But again, when you go through, as you mentioned, the last four matchups, we talked about this with Detroit within the division. This seems to be a trend here, not in the division, but it's very consistent. Go back to last year, 96-93, 122-120, two tight ones in Detroit, came back home, lost outright, 108-102, then lost outright, as you mentioned, 112-111 to close the first half this year. So it seems like Boston, for whatever reason, just purely does not motivate to play A-list basketball against Detroit. Then you get this element. This is a 12 noon game in Detroit. Talk about an unknown environment. Detroit, obviously, since the turn of the new year, is really reputable at home. Not only ATS, but straight up. Honestly, I wanted to take Boston in the bounce back spot in the revenge with Detroit off wins as well. But I think Detroit has turned a corner. Great move getting Marvin Bagley. Cade Cunningham is balling out. Tough cap, but I would not fade Detroit here. Chris?
Yeah, Shark. Me and Jay were actually just talking about that, man. And I really like, I like Boston in this spot. I do. I was going against just kind of, thinking about it, and all the points that you made are valid, Shark. Marvin Bagley has been a great addition to the team. So far spot wise, Boston is, first night of a back-to-back. They play in Indiana tomorrow. I don't think that should be a look ahead spot, but I actually like Boston to come in here and clean these guys up early. I don't want to lay the 9.5 to 10. I saw it going up to 10.5. So I would, if I was going to play this game, which I probably will put a half unit, Boston minus 7.5 first half is something that I like. The point differential in the first half over the last three games was 15.3. They've been coming in and really putting their imprint on the game early. So I like them to come in and do the same thing in this one, Shark.
Yeah, I'm with you, Chris. I'll be honest. I don't see scenarios where the Celtics don't come out here and throttle these guys from the get-go. I know they got Frank Jackson is out. He's been the key piece. If you watch the Pistons, Frank Jackson is one of those guys that nobody knows, and he comes out there and balls out for the Pistons. So they did get Bagley. They got guys like Jeremy Grant back, Kelly Olynyk as well. But off 2 straight wins for the Pistons, I don't trust it. Like I say, the Celtics know that this team just beat them right before the game, before the All-Star break as well. They mentioned it in their practice interviews or whatever. They're not looking ahead to any game, taking it day by day. I sprinkled on Celtics first quarter -4, Celtics first half -7, guys. Just a sprinkle, but I do see these guys coming out, taking this game serious. Like, hold on, Pistons, you've been playing us well. Let's show you the real here. And you see it. They could have came out lackluster versus the Nets. They didn't. This team is on one right now, one of the best teams in the NBA in the major rating since December 1st, guys. So sprinkle for me, Celtics first quarter, first half, small plays though, but I'm trying to cash them. It's simple. I don't give a damn how small it is. Let's go over here that's not what she said. Let's go over here to the streets of Atlanta, my guys. We got the Raptors here versus the Hawks, man. The Raptors got shelled last night. You do have the rest advantage for the Hawks, but I always worry about teams, hard-nosed teams like the Raptors when they get smacked up the night before. So I can see them coming back with something here, but stayed off the game, Shark.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. And we go back in the last month. Of course, Toronto has turned a massive corner here, making a push really for a top 5 seed in the East in this parity-driven conference. But they played 3 awful basketball games. They came out and they got destroyed at home by Portland. They played an awful road game against New Orleans. And they just played an awful road game against Charlotte. The previous 2, In the first quarter, they came out smoking hot in the next game because most of those 3 games were all shooting outliers. They just could not shoot the basketball. Go back to last night. Freddie VanVleet and Pascal Siakam were building mansions with their bricks. And they're going to want to come back in here tonight and really bring some sort of effort. This is a professional unit, ex-championship group. They will come back. But Atlanta, double revenge game. Atlanta at home, turning up. The number has not mattered. It was short at home for Toronto. They still covered it. This is strong for Atlanta. I don't know if it matters. I think this game is a dead-out gamble tonight. Chris?
No, likewise, right? I was going to hit on that too. Double revenge game for Atlanta. The Raptors beat them. Both times the Raptors beat them, they covered as well. For me, it's kind of what you talked about, Shar. It's the defense. The Raptors defense is really taking a step back. I was up early this morning reading some of the stuff from the beat writers, and I didn't even notice, but Siakam actually had flu-like symptoms and tried to play through that game yesterday. I know a lot of people was on Siakam. You know, his player props. He finished with like 8. Like he played. He didn't play that well. You know, they don't have OG Anunoby. They're talking about trying to get Thaddeus Young more incorporated into the offense and how he's going to have to kind of learn as he goes pretty quickly. So with Atlanta's not the greatest defensive team. We know that they rank, bottom 10 in most defensive categories, but offensively, they can bring it. I also think that Atlanta needs to stack these wins up. So I don't have a play on the game, but if I had a lean, it's almost a pick 'em, like you guys said. So if I had a lean, I would say that Toronto would be able to come in here and cover. I'm just not. I can't do it because of the injuries. Toronto and Nick Nurse, they don't do a good job of playing a bunch of players. Nick Nurse likes to kind of stick to his guys, which can be good. But then when you're down players, even with Fred VanVleet, his birthday was yesterday, and he tried to play through that injury. So the lackluster performance on the defensive end, the injuries that we kind of talk about, I typically want to get behind Toronto, especially off a loss. Toronto is 12-8-1 ATS as an away underdog, which is the 7th best covering percentage. The Raptors are also 9-1 ATS in their last 10 games following the ATS loss. But because of the injuries, I can't back them in Atlanta. Atlanta needs to win too. So
that's a good point there with Siakam there. He definitely didn't look right, so there's definitely some inside info there. If he's not 100%, if Fred VanVleet's not 100%, then with them missing OG as well, I said that on yesterday's show. I don't know, man. Without OG, I mean, he's one of they're really going through him in a lot of offense this year, and he's one of their best defenders as well. But we got to talk about the Hawks as well. They've been missing John Collins over there. They had one of the best lineups with Bogdanovich, Trae Young, Huerter, Collins, and Capella out there. Now missing just one key piece out there can really drive your net rating down. So it's a tough game for me. I can see the Raptors trying to come back with something here stronger in the first quarter, but full game wise, with the Hawks having the rest advantage, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them get it done in the second half. Raptors possibly run out of gas, but I don't know. They didn't expend a lot of energy yesterday, so who knows in this one. But I would want to lean Raptors in the first quarter in this one, but staying off this game. Let's go over here to the streets of Miami, guys. We have the Heat here. This line is up to 9, now 8.5, 9. We have the Spurs here, man. This is underdogs. I'll be coming off a huge double overtime win last night, man. I also saw DeJounte Murray get a little injured as well. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Murray did sit in this game, but maybe they get Langford and Richardson, the guys, back. I'm staying far away from this game. It's Heat or nothing for me, Shark.
Mild disagreement and significant disagreement. Official play +8, +8.5 now, as you said, 9. A lot going on here. Very specific stuff, actually. I went back to last year, and I found this really interesting. They found Miami on the road in the same position on their schedule. It was a 3rd-game sequence that we'll go back through. They had gotten blown out by Miami last year at home. Then they had a game at New Orleans, which they covered. Then they went to Washington and won the game by 3 points in overtime. Then they went to Miami. Where are they here? Cover at OKC within the division, then a double overtime cover against Washington. Now they go to Miami. Miami comes in here in a brutal spot. They get a road home back-to-back off a cover against the Knicks. The next 4 games are against Chicago, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Philly. Talk about a sandwich trap spot. The last time Miami beat the Knicks, they did come home and not cover. Miami's been very lackluster on the back end of back-to-backs and against the West recently at home. Last point on this, the number is very short. Miami last year did lay 1.5 on the road and blow them out. Came home 4.5, which was stock. Didn't really tell you a story. 116, 111 Miami right on the number. Then it came up to 8.5 on the road strong, which we had correctly going back 3 or 4 weeks. Now you get 8.5 on the road. Then it comes back at 8 home. It's short for a reason. Spurs need these games. You had the Pelicans last night. Spurs and Pelicans are competing for the final playoff spot in the West. They need to turn up. They've shown the sustainability on this trip. They've found win. They found competitive nature in every single game. Only back-to-back really on record here was at Pelicans coming off a blowout win at the Hawks. I think the Spurs show up here and keep this game close. I think Miami wins the game, but I think it's going to be real close here tonight. Official play +8. It's at +8.5 now.
I like that, Shark. I like it a lot. And the reason why, this is what I had written down in my notes. So the Heat, while they have been playing well, they haven't necessarily been playing as well at home. And I don't know if people are, kind of keeping up with that. Jay, your Mavericks actually just went in there and beat them outright and covered that game as well, right? So what I had written down was that the Heat are only 10-12 ATS as a home favorite. They're 0-4 ATS in their last 4 as a home favorite, and they're 0-4 ATS in their last 4 games at home as well, just in general. The Spurs are 14-10 ATS as an away underdog, which is the 10th best covering percentage, right? San Antonio has a better ATS record with no rest of the two teams as well. And the Spurs are 6-2-1 ATS in their last 9 games in Miami. So they travel well when they go to Miami. We know everybody can't play well in Miami. Jay come on and talk about it all the time. Teams can't play well, whether it's that buffet that's down there in New Orleans, the streets of Miami can get a little wild, the same thing for LA. But for some reason, Popovich has this group, when they go down there, they typically perform well. So yeah, I the double OT thing is something that, does, kind of come into play as well, which will probably keep me off of this game. But if I had a lean, it'd definitely be taking the points with you, Shark, just because Popovich also does a really good job of, utilizing his whole team. We just talked about Nick Nurse doing the opposite of that, but he's not going to play anybody too many minutes. They actually played, a bunch of guys last night. But if the games, I think the game, I just say that I think the game stays close, and I take the points with you as well, Shark.
Yeah, you guys make some good points here. One quick thing, the last game for the Heat here, I hope you cash. I'm not on it, but the Heat the line opened up at 4.5 in San Antonio, closed at -8. So it would be some strength for the Heat here coming back to the house, or pretty much stock number. So there's one thing to that. But my thing is, with these guys playing a double overtime game, if I like the Spurs here, I like them early here, guys. I like them. They could really run out of gas here in the second half of the game. And you make a good point as well with this being a trap spot for the Heat. But I've seen them time and time again, even if they come out lackluster in the game, once they wake up and put the defense on these guys, anything can happen. As far as fourth quarter, I really worry about the Spurs possibly run out of gas. I'm watching this team last night versus the Wizards. This team doesn't play a lick of defense, man. That's why the game goes to double overtime. You can't let the Wizards look that well offensively to you. That's just the Spurs right now. They're trying to outscore teams. So they do have the offense to stay with the Heat here, but if the Heat clamp down on their offense, the Spurs are not playing a lick of defense. They don't really have any rim protection. DeJounte Murray kind of got a little banged up last night. He did stay out throughout the game, but guys, when I'm watching these games, don't be a bit surprised if Murray doesn't look well tonight. He did get banged up. His knee was down on the floor for a few minutes as well. Did stay in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if Pop rests some guys here. They know that they're not going to win this game. Now, Lanford and Josh Richardson did rest last night, so I could see him possibly resting some guys and sitting those guys tonight. Anything can happen here, guys. I'm not on the Heat, but I'm standing far away from the Spurs full game here, especially with it being double overtime. If I like the Spurs, I like them first quarter, first half, where they'll have the most energy coming off the game last night. But I don't want to talk anyone off their play. If you like something stronger than me, go with your gut, man. It'll help you sleep better at night. Let's go over here to the streets of Cleveland here. We have the Cavs versus the Wizards, the other team off the double overtime game, man. And if it's me, I'm looking to fade those teams here. So Cavs, they are without LeVert and Garland as well, but I can only look towards them, especially with some revenge as well, Shark.
Yeah, on a suddenly not so casual, send it Saturday, February 26, 2022. Buy hat is engaged. A lot going on here. Of course, we did fade the Wizards last night. I want to make this point. Somebody in the chat saying something about the Wizards and this and that. The Wizards shot lights out from three-point range last night. Absolute outlier. Contavious Caldwell-Pope was Steph Curry in 2016 last night. I mean, this is just apocalyptic nonsense here. And we stay the course within this game. Cleveland comes in here off an L3, a trip, a really lackluster spot at Detroit. But we suggested this. For whatever reason, they just can't play ball at Detroit. They come in here, fourth matchup of the year, revenge game, and the line has mattered. Early season, Kyle Kuzma, late 3, 97-94, Washington in Cleveland. Came back in Washington at 3. That was short. It should have been 6 Washington. And Cleveland did revenge them with authority on the road, 116-101. Then it came back off that blowout win for Cleveland, and Washington blew them out 110-93. Washington -4 there, showing strength. Now this slips all the way over to -7. And you look at what Cleveland's been doing off of losses on the road. 2 covers against the East in home game 1, 2 non-covers against the Southwest, Pelicans and Thunder in home game 1. And of course, you get the Wizards here coming off this demoralizing loss, 157-153, 2 overtimes. I think Cleveland will get there by 15 plus tonight. -7 official, -7.5 now, 1 unit. Chris, talk to him.
Couldn't talk you off of it at all, Shark. So, like you talked about, the Wizards played in that back-to-back game last night, double OT. It felt like it kind of – I watched that game, pretty much the whole game, because I lost the first quarter on the Spurs when, like you said, KCP turned into Steph Curry of 2016, right? So, they ended up scoring 33 points in the first quarter, and I'm like, what Wizard team scores 33 points in the first quarter? Anyway, I'll get off of that. Back to this game, right? So, like you guys said, this isn't a look-ahead spot. That's what I had written down in my notes for both teams because they played the other day. Right. One of the things that supports your point of that -7 even more, Shark, is that the Wizards are 1-5 ATS in their last 6 games as an underdog. Right. They've kind of packed it in. Right. You're just kind of developing players at this time. The Corey Kispers, these guys. They bought Ish Smith back because they don't have a point guard anymore. Bickerstaff, on the other hand, said that we can't afford to make excuses. He said this after the game. He said after the Pistons game, this was disappointing. We didn't do a good job collectively. And if you know anything about the Cavs, they play better at home. The only thing that would cause me a little pause for concern is that they don't have a point guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what your name is. If you play point guard for the Cavs, you've gotten hurt this year, right? Even Rubio, who they got rid of, right? After he ended up getting hurt. But for this game specifically, though, it hadn't dropped when I was doing my research earlier, my prep work. I really like Brandon Goodwin. The Wizards are atrocious against point guards, right? They don't do a good job. I don't even know what his props are, but just based on opportunity, he'll get a lot of those minutes with Rondo being out. Rondo got that toe injury; he's out for a couple of weeks now, so he'll get majority of the point guard minutes. Because of that, he was in the game late when they end up losing to Detroit, and he looked good. I watched the end of that game. They have no other ball handlers, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I would kind of look at towards for this game. As far as analytical data, the Wizards are allowing the 13th most points, which is middle of the pack to point guards. And I'm not comparing them to DeJounte Murray, but we saw what DeJounte Murray did to this Wizard team last night. And when you factor in the tired legs, I could only look towards it even more. But yeah, decisive advantage back to Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Cavs should come in here and stifle these guys. They have to do it with defense today. That's a great point, Chris. I hate the fact that Rondo, LeVert, and everybody's out for these guys. So Garland, I'm with you. Yeah, Garland as well. So those are some of the best props where it doesn't even matter where the lines are. We know that Goodwin is he might have to play 40 minutes. He may have to play them the whole game, and they have to run Okoro at the point guard as well. So I see this being a defensive type of game. If this is a Cavs type of game, they'll impose their defense on the Wizards. Those jump shots probably won't be hitting tonight after double overtime game as well. Could definitely see these guys getting blown out here, my guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Chicago, man. We got the Bulls here. Man, the Bulls are the luckiest team in NBA. I'll tell you that right now. It's tough to go either way here because I would like to take the Grizzlies, but Ja Morant worried about his health, and the Grizzlies seem to be coming not necessarily back down to earth. They're still playing hard, but it's a tough game for me. I always say, you stop DeRozan. Why are teams getting away from doubling DeRozan? You do that, and you can beat them, man. I'm not sure why they stopped doing it, but what you think about this game, Shark? You liking the Bulls here?
No, either side of this game is just this is an incredibly difficult game. The 2 hardest games to cap on this board are this one and the Hawks game, and this just has massive counter narratives. Chicago has lost 3 in a row to Memphis dating back to last year, which is fairly uncanny. I mean, it speaks to some sort of, obviously personnel issue. Ja Morant and the boys just really owning this group. Of course, new followers in the chat. We do know that the teams do change over year to year. We do know that. But continuing on that point, Jay said it. If you go back through this homestand, 5 games, 5-0 straight up, and every single cover has come in the back door in ridiculous fashion. They got the Kings. They got a couple other teams. Even the last game against the Hawks, that was a disgusting non-cover from the Hawks. It was 108-107 Hawks, 1 possession, DeMar and 1. And then the Hawks missing 2 foul shots, not covered by a hook. I mean, we talk about this all the time. The Bulls are trending to a loss hard. And you do get Memphis off an L2. Memphis should be pissed off. The last time Memphis lost 3 games in a row, the third loss was actually a revenge game at the Warriors. Not sure how much you can correlate that to Bulls, but this is a revenge game. Bulls playoff team could be tough. The really contaminant point for me here is the line is really short. Memphis did hammer them at home by margin at 8.5, and this opened up at pick'em. You don't want to see that. You do not want to see that line gap. So a lot of counter narratives here. It's really tough, but this is just Bulls. When are you going to lose a game, guys? Come on, Chris.
Same chart. Like you said, I said super hard. I was just going through the notes, right? Let me tell you what I have written down. So Memphis is the best covering team in the league. The Bulls are third. Memphis is 12-7 after a loss, which is the 5th best covering percentage. Chicago is the 4th best covering team after a win, 22-16. Memphis is the 4th best team ATS as an away underdog, 11-6. And then you have Chicago, who's the best team in the league at covering as a home favorite. They're 18-7, right? Covering 72% of those games, right? Both teams are 7-3 ATS and straight up in the last 10. Really, really hard to pick a side in this one. There is the narrative, with DeRozan, chasing Jordan and trying to get the 30-point, 30+ point games. And with Memphis, winning the last 3 games, this is my thing, and I'm curious to hear you guys' standpoint on this. Memphis, Jay talked about it when he was going over this game. Memphis, they kind of diverted to just being able to outscore you, right? The couple games that they have lost, they've given up over 115 points. We talk about that when we talk about the Timberwolves all the time, right? So it's all of the games have gone over recently. It just doesn't seem like they've been locked in defensively, right? Memphis is the better offense in this game of the two teams, and the better defense as well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to travel. They've been able to play well without Ja as well, on the road and at home. But I don't necessarily know if I want. It just feels like too much gambling to me. So I don't have a side in this one.
This is definitely a gamble, guys. 2 buy-on teams, and that's a really good point, Chris. Something I hadn't really looked at. The Grizzlies, when would they go on their long streak, Shark? When they were playing lights-out defense. When you start to revert to, when you know that your offense is good and teams can't stop you, then you're like, all right, we're going to give less energy to the defensive side. The Grizzlies weren't that type of team. They were hard-nosed every single play, defense or offense, just like the Suns. That's where they were covering all those spreads. So that's a good point, Chris. Maybe them not playing this such hard defense, which they would need tonight. You have to double DeRozan the whole game. It's simple. You make the rest of the team beat you. Should I be a coach? It's really that simple. Double team him as soon as he comes from half court. Make him pass the ball. It's simple. The Hawks were doing it for 3 quarters. They didn't do it the 4th quarter, and they got cooked. That's why DeRozan hit the game-winning shot on guys. So I know everyone's in love with the Bulls. This is the luckiest team in the NBA right now, man. But they are balling, and they are at the house as well. So I'm not betting against them. I can see the game going either way. Let's go to the next game here, man. Let's go to the streets of Milwaukee here, guys. We have the Nets versus the Bucks. I'll let you guys start first, Shark. What you like here?
Tough cap, a lot going on here. The really interesting point here is Milwaukee has not played a game in the second half. I believe they're the last team to play their first game of the second half tonight. And Jay, I see you over there. What's going on, brother? It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I love it.
I like this fucking game. That's what I like this shit, man. I like this fucking game. I love this game.
And I know Jay. I don't know where he's going with this, but this is the ultimate revenge spot for the Nets. Nets have gotten blown out twice this season by Milwaukee in the opener, which surprised all of us because that was the playoff revenge game. And, of course, the big point going back to the playoffs, you're still getting the playoff revenge. Obviously, Kevin Durant not in the lineup, definitely a new group. Brooklyn comes in here on an L2. They did beat Sacramento, and they beat the Knicks on an epic backdoor in Madison Square Garden for their last win. They've lost 2 straight games. They come in here. Bucks, again, first game after the break. For whatever reason, the Bucks had more games before the break, and they've already played 60 games. This is their first game. They should have fatigue, a little bit of growing pains coming off this break. The line is on Milwaukee, but again, I think this is definitely a net spot to show up here, compete against the number, show them, look, we're going to take you guys in the playoffs again. We have to show up and compete. You get Kyrie and the boys on the road, plus 9.5. ABC National. It's not even noon. Beers flow. Cheers up, fears down. Let's have a Saturday night. Chris, talk to him.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off the full game. I think the Nets probably they could definitely cover this game. But if I had to play in this game, it'd probably be the Bucks first quarter or Bucks first half. I haven't locked anything in yet. It's pretty early still in the day. This game, we still got some time. I just worry about the Nets collectively being able to kind of keep up. That's the thing that really worries me. Offensively, if we're talking about points per game or we're talking about offensive rating, they just really been struggling to score. And they could come in this spot and this could be a trifecta spot for the Bucks, or they could end up covering. I could see the Nets end up covering as well. So nothing for me in this game, but if I had a very strong lean, it'd probably just be Bucks to be able to outscore the Nets, especially in the first quarter or first half. And I'll probably look a little more into those spreads and tweet that out later if it's something that I lock in.
I'm on the Nets today. We're cutting down the Nets like it's fucking March Madness. You dig what I'm saying? Double revenge spot, man. Obviously, they lost in the first game of the season. Come back. That was insulting right there. Even had KD and the boys. They weren't ready to play. I'll be honest, guys. I'm not a fan of Steve Nash as the coach, but this one is a little bit bigger than him. This one is about the players on the floor, and they're going up against a lame duck coach as well, if you ask me. So maybe equal coaching here, but you do get Kyrie Irving back with the boys on the road. You get Dragic to help out with some offense off the bench here, guys. You said it as well. This is the first game for the Bucks off the break. They've been off for 10 days. The Nets just got smacked versus the Celtics, so they already have a game back to shake off some of their rust as well. Getting 9.5, getting 10 points here is just way too many, guys. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see the Nets win this game outright. They have double revenge from early this year. They have playoff revenge still stemming from last year. They still hate this team, man. So they don't have KD out there, but he's traveling with the team, practicing with them nearing to a return. I always said KD's probably in the boys' ear. Hey, guys, we can't slide down too much because we're really trying to make a push when I get back healthy, guys. So I like him here. Like I say, Kyrie Irving back. They offer blowout loss versus Boston, so they're going to be motivated here. Give me the Nets here plus the 9.5. The Bucks 2-7 against the spread when laying 7.5 to 9.5 points. They're also 1-4 against the spread last 5 home games. 0-4 against the spread last 4 overall. I like the Nets here plus 9.5. I think they keep this game close at the very worst, if not win this game outright. Nets plus 9.5. Top play of the day for me, guys. Last game up, we're going to the streets of Denver here. Just came from Denver. Might go hit the dispensary one time or something. But Shark, this is the second game of a home-and-home. I lost with the Kings the first one. I'm not sure what to do with this one. I'll tell you. I don't even care about this game. What you like, Shark?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, we said this before. Of course, the Kings just gave the game away in the fourth quarter at home in the last game. But we just don't have a lot of information on this group. Of course, they did beat Minnesota at home, but that was Minnesota in these back-to-backs on the road. It was more on Minnesota, I think, just melting it off in the second half there. It's just a new group. We just don't know. I see some stuff in the beat writers, and I'm looking at Sacramento a little bit. De'Aaron Fox still seems to be dejected, uninspired. I don't know what his deal is. I mean, we know he's a very emotional guy. I always remember him crying after the national title game at Kentucky. Crying is one thing, but playing professional basketball is a totally different thing. And he just hasn't found his group, his camaraderie, his flow as a professional. And it's sad to see because I think he's a hell of a talent. You get, Sabonis coming over there, a couple of the ex-Pacers. This group just really is all over the place. And I made the comment about the Spurs and the Pelicans making a push for the final slot. The Kings are the third team in that group that can do it. I do see Portland fading way away from the playoffs. It's those three teams. They need wins. They need to turn up. You get the revenge game. But again, this is just your sharp number. We said this before. Denver won by 10 points on an 8 prior in Denver. They came back there, obviously crushed them on the road. It's back to 8. It's right on the number. I think it's going to be tight. I think Sacramento could win. They did beat them 3 times last year. But, of course, that was Buddy Hield and the boys. We just don't know. Chris?
No, same. Everything that you said, Shark. Like Denver's always been a really difficult team for me to cap, and like you said, we just don't have enough information. Like I need a bigger sample size for the Kings, right? Like I feel like we've seen some things that we could classify as outliers from some of their winning performances and some of the losses as well. As far as spot, Denver does have a back-to-back tomorrow. They play in Portland. Not from a motivational standpoint. I don't think they'll need. To get up for a Portland team, not that Portland team. But I do think that if Denver's been a first half team, right? We do know that if they play better, they typically play better in if we're breaking it down by half, they're playing better in the first half. So if I, just a shot in the dark, I guess would be Denver maybe first half because they know they have Portland tomorrow, and if they want to kind of keep it rolling, which they have been playing well. It's just still difficult for me to cap. So nothing for me on this one. I'm glad you guys didn't have much either. And I because I thought maybe it was just me, but yeah, I don't have anything for this one at all.
Yeah, sorry guys, I forgot it's college basketball starting right now, man. One of these plays, we didn't get 1,000 people watching live, but we go ahead and get it to the free picks, man. I can't say I did put a little small bet on Oklahoma minus the 3.5 revenge spot versus OK State. OK State seemed like they'd given up. Oklahoma hadn't been too well right now. I'm not a college basketball expert, guys, but I do know how to make some money with this shit. So I just made a small play on Oklahoma. I'll let you guys break your plays off real quick, but I'm looking at South Carolina today plus 11, Portland as well. The Pilots, they fucking love me. This team has been covering, man. If y'all watch, they're getting 10 versus versus Santa Clara tonight, man. Northern Illinois, quick revenge game. They're getting 16 from Buffalo. Both teams third game in 5 days. Buffalo shouldn't be laying 15 points here. It's simple. Like I say, Oklahoma and Colorado tonight as well, plus the 10 versus Arizona, my guys. So some other lanes as well. Fuck it, all of them. Miami, Ohio, Miami, Ball State minus 7.5, Utah Valley, San Francisco, Northern Iowa, Western Kentucky, Pacific, and Oregon, my guys. But the rest was just leans. But Shark, what are we doing today, my guys? Break them off with your officials.
Yeah, as you said, 144 games on a suddenly not so casual college basketball Saturday. Of course, Jay loves the Portland Pilots. Who knew?
They love me.
Why?
They love me too, bro.
And obviously, 2 top players in the NBA. Buy hat engaged. Cavs at 7.5 official. And Spurs, 8 official for me. You're looking at 9 now. A lot of things, 32 minutes in the works. Chris, drop your officials. And Jay, a pleasure. Close them out, and let's dominate this beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon.
No, for sure. I appreciate that. So official for me, Celtics, first half -7. I just think that stifling defense comes to play. Me and Jay we were talking about it a little bit before, but Al Horford has been in the post game talking about using all the words that we want to hear as cappers, saying things like they're really engaged and committed to what needs to be done, saying that they're focused, right, and they're having fun, right. I think that's the big thing. We've seen Boston be able to go on the road and play well, and actually they have a better overall point differential on the road than they do at home as well. So I really like that. Like I said, plus 15.3 points per game in the last 3. If you want to factor in that revenge narrative right before All-Star break, because they did lose that game, I'm gonna take this -7 first half Celtics.
Gotcha. Yeah, they asking what's your Twitter as well. It's Chris at Chris B Capping, my guys.
Yeah, with two ends. Yep.
Yeah, go and follow my guy on Twitter. You can also follow my guy Sharks Sports as well, man. Both great follows on Twitter. You can follow me as well, man. If you want, like I say, to recap the plays again, Nets plus 9.5 is my top play of the day. Also sprinkled on Celtics early. I know the game started, but we talked about this shit. Celtics first quarter -4, first half -7, some sprinkles, but loving the Nets today plus a 9.5. Don't be a bit surprised to see that game come down to the wire, Shark. A good corollary, the Nets going down there to Miami as well when I cashed this shit. But this time we got Curry and Drummond back. You need rim protection when you're going up against Giannis, man. They probably gonna be rusty coming off 10 days off. Y'all know I get hyped about this shit. Let's keep this shit going, man. We got to run it up on the bookie. Nets plus 9.5 top play. Like I say, the college basketball plays again. The top ones, South Carolina plus 11. That's my favorite play of the day in college. After that, Portland, Northern Illinois plus 16. Oklahoma, that one's starting right now. Colorado plus 10 late at night. Let's get some cash, man. Finna chop the video up, put it on podcast. Go get some cash, and we about to get some more, Shark. Chris as well, man. Let's get some cash today. Hit the like button, subscribe. We bring in free picks to you guys every single day, not just Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday too, man. Go share the show. We out, my guys.